happens when the man who's supposed to uphold the law ends up breaking the law? Well, the people in one Georgia town certainly know the answer all too well, thanks to this guy, Judge Bryant Cochran. Andrea Isom has the twisted plot that includes sex, drugs, and handcuffs.
Angela Garmley was desperate for justice. This petite blonde from small-town Chatsworth, Georgia, hoped Chief County Magistrate Judge Bryant Cochran could hear her plea for help.
Everybody said he was a great judge. He's well known. I've never met him in person until I had to go before him to seek out warrants on 3 individuals that assaulted me.
Just days before, Angela had gotten into an argument with 3 locals who physically attacked her by dragging her out of the car and beating her.
I was face first on the ground. I was helpless. I couldn't get up.
You were scared?
I was scared, very scared.
Angela wanted Judge Cochran to issue arrest warrants for the 3 attackers. But when she appeared before this magistrate, Cochran had way more on his mind than a strictly legal liaison.
When he started talking about his new mistress, because his wife didn't take care of him in the bedroom.
Believe it or not, you heard that right. This judge was looking for love in his courtroom.
And then he says that he was getting
A judge
Yes, a
says
judge.
that word to you
Yes.
in his professional capacity.
Yes.
Not exactly the response Angela Garmley was seeking when she came before the Georgia judge. But shockingly, this man of the bench wasn't speaking legalese while conducting court business in private chambers.
He wanted me to come into his office by myself. When I sat down, he said, well, I heard that Joe had a pretty wife, but damn, you're fine.
Once they were in a closed-door situation, the magistrate took advantage with his own brand of attack.
He was telling me that if I come in with a dress and no panties, that I would be happy with the ruling come Friday.
Even though this was small-town Murray County, Georgia, in most legal circles, that's called extortion. But Angela was determined to get legal help, and at first she felt compelled to comply.
I told him that I would. If it would take me getting justice on these people, I would do it.
But feeling uncomfortable with Cochran's manipulations, Angela eventually told her ex-husband, Joe Garmley, about the lurid encounters. Garmley personally knew Judge Cochran and couldn't believe his ears until Angela showed him texts and voicemails the judge sent after asking for her phone number.
We text back and forth. He would call me over the phone. He would, with my sister present, would ask me things like if I ask me how I like it. Do I like it rough? Wanting a picture of me, what he would do to me.
Joe was shocked and upset.
And I told him, I said, just drop it, Joe, just drop it, you know, and he wouldn't drop it. He said, I'm not gonna drop this.
So he angrily confronted the judge at the courthouse.
I had some choice words. I told him that I would do whatever it took to get him fired.
But after Joe had words with the judge, Angela was about to face far more than sexual advances.
It was when everything changed. Once it got out and got public, I was set up. A deputy pulled us over and wanted to search the car.
At the time, Angela admittedly was a meth user. After doing drugs at a friend's house one late evening, she asked someone to drive her home. On the way, police pulled Angela's car over. One of the officers involved was none other than Judge Cochran's cousin. They asked to search the car, and Angela agreed.
And the deputy walks up, bends down, reaches under here, and pulls something out. And he stands up and says, uh-huh, and he lays it on the car.
We found it.
That is not mine.
It is. Nonetheless.
That is not mine.
Nonetheless.
While she's being arrested, Angela tells the officers she knows the judge is setting her up.
I know who did it.
Okay, well, who did it?
It was Brian Cochran. Now, there's another one going on with the Brian Cochran deal because of what I've done, and I've had threats, and I've had people trying to set me up and let me tell you something. That's not mine.
Angela was strip searched, fingerprinted, and then spent the night in jail. She called her attorney, who took her case to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
I got to tell him the story from the beginning, and obviously he believed me because 10 days later my charges were dropped.
But the web of deceit they discovered didn't end with the judge.
I told Angie, you have to be careful. You're taking on a powerful person, and you have to really watch your step.
Investigators also uncovered crooked cops and a web of illegal manipulating.
How shocked were you that police officers and a judge would risk their livelihoods to do something like this?
Nothing surprises me anymore. He asked 6 law enforcement officers before he found the 2 who would do it. He asked 6 others to do it, and nobody said a word until the investigation was full on.
As the depth of deception was revealed, investigators learned Judge Cochran's handyman planted drugs on Angela's car the night before he arranged for her to be pulled over. Incredibly, the cops were recorded trying to figure out where they were supposed to find the drugs.
Josh, can you hear me? Mike was talking about some information. Left-hand side, key magnet. That's kind of where they're supposed to be keeping it.
Angela's ex-husband says when he showed up at the scene, the judge had him arrested too.
You get 2 deputies and a judge, they get together to try to put an innocent person in jail. It's, if it happens here, how many other places in the United States has it happened?
We tried to track down Judge Cochran to get his side of the story.
Come out, Mr. Cochran. We have some questions for you.
But the cop showed up instead.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. If you're going to film, you need to film from over there.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Good enough. Thank y'all.
Once everyone in the small town realized we were there, Judge Cochran's attorney agreed to talk about his relationship with Angela.
We believe she was the one that instigated whatever attempt there was at a romantic relationship.
His attorney also told Crime Watch Daily Judge Cochran didn't frame Angela in a drug sting, but he did pass along a tip that she was using drugs.
No question that the circumstances look very suspicious, but Judge Cochran didn't order anybody to plant drugs, and he didn't even know about it until after it had happened.
A jury ruled otherwise. For their roles in the plot against Angela, the 2 police officers were each sentenced to a year in federal prison.
The case showed an utter abuse of power by Mr. Cochran and a complete betrayal of the public trust. Cochran framed an innocent woman and traded legal rulings for sexual favors.
And what did the corrupt judge get for using the power of his position to prey on his petitioner?
Judge Cochran has been brought to justice, and he's answering for his crimes by having to serve 5 years in prison.
Cochran was convicted of sexually assaulting his court clerk, and in the case of Angela Garmley, deprivation of rights under color of law, 6 counts in all. Sexual assault, drug distribution, conspiracy, deprivation of civil rights, unreasonable search and seizure, witness tampering.
If you can't trust a judge in law, then who you got to trust? They're supposed to protect us, not hurt us.
Shortly after our visit to Cochran's home, he turned himself in to serve his 5 years. And this judge won't be dropping a courtroom gavel ever again, though he has filed an appeal.
Now he's going to avail himself of all of the constitutional rights that he tried to deny Angie Garmley.
After serving his time, the judge in this case says this judge will be on probation for 3 more years.